Welcome back to another episode of the 50-50 Show. I'm your host, Omair. This is my brother and co-host, Omar. Today, we're going to be talking about NBA and last night's games, as well as previewing what will be going on today. First, let's go over maybe the most interesting, for me, exciting game of last night. The Los Angeles Lakers take on the Boston Celtics, where they absolutely beat the brakes off the Boston Celtics in a blowout win behind a dominant performance from Anthony Davis, as well as great performances from LeBron James, or GOAT James if you will, and AR-15 Austin Reeves. Omar, what do you think about the game last night? What are your thoughts? What did you see? Talk to us.
Well, honestly, I think it's not really a big deal.
What?
Yeah, so let's start with, I want to talk about LeBron real quick. He had 20-something points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 turnovers. Shout out to him for keeping the turnovers low. I've talked about how that's one of his biggest glaring weaknesses in the regular season. When those turnovers are low, it just doesn't give the opposing team that much room to be able to attack them. So I love that from him. But his 14 rebounds, the big reason that happened is because before the game, his line was 6.5. I was all over, the overs for that. And it's because he sits in the dunker spot versus the Celtics. So the stretch 5 offense of Porzingis, it pulls the opposing. Yeah, well, he was popping off this game. So it pulls the opposing centers away from the paint. So it pulls someone like AD away. And then Rui was on Tatum and Max Christie was on Jaylen Brown. So that leaves AR and LeBron versus Drew and Derek for the rebounding responsibilities. And so it was just always going to be a matchup where LeBron was going to feast on the rebounds. That's something I wanted to sort of get out there because I think sometimes players have these pop-off performances, pop-off stats, and we always are just like, oh, wow, he was dominant, yada, yada. No, I mean, he literally missed the first bucket of the game, missed it twice, just kept offensive rebounding himself. And then again, he had this dunker spot stuff. So I think that rebound number is a little more, it's not quite what people are reading when they see, oh man, age 40, 20 and 14. But hey, still good game from him. Low turnovers, decent efficiency, loved it. From the Celtics side, that's where this game was lost. Anytime I see a good team score less than 100 points, they lost the game. There's really nothing you can do in the modern NBA. There's no defense you can play that's going to keep these highly skilled players unable to score 100 points. And so the Celtics only had 96 to the Lakers 117. I'm not saying the Lakers didn't deserve the win. It's just it should have been more like a Celtics 110, 112. They still lose. The Lakers would deserve the credit. But in this game, they're super tired. They're in a cross-country trip. This is like a back-to-back, 3 games in 4 nights. Like, they're all super tired. Jaylen Brown, 9 of 19. I've talked about it a lot with this guy. Everyone always says this team is a super team and that Tatum gets carried. No. When Tatum actually doesn't perform very well, like this game, like he wasn't inefficient, he just didn't shoot a lot, 5 of 12, and you let someone like Jaylen Brown take over and you even let Kristaps Porzingis take over, it's not enough to beat these great teams. Kristaps Porzingis,
they usually do take over. Like last year's finals, Jaylen Brown took over. He got the W.
Jaylen Brown's getting a lot of cachet and a lot of credit from people for those finals, and I can see an argument that in the playoffs, Jaylen Brown is better, but in the regular season, like Jamal Murray, I'm grading them based on what they output day in, day out. And Jaylen Brown, yeah, he had a 40-point game, I think maybe 2 weeks ago. People were really glazing him for that, but this is more so the norm for Jaylen Brown. He shoots a lot of shots. He's not very efficient. He's not playing a lot of defense in the regular season. I know you reference that Luka Doncic thing all the time. That's playoffs Jaylen Brown thing.
Absurd.
That's
no
not
one
regular
could do
season.
it all playoff run, and then Jaylen Brown stops him.
And that's cool. And I'm not hating on him right now. But in the regular season, this is why the Celtics drop games to teams like the Lakers. It's people like Jaylen Brown. Obviously, it wasn't just him. Peyton Pritchard,
JT didn't perform very well, obviously.
Peyton Pritchard, 2 of 12. Terrible game. Drew Holiday.
Is he still better than De'Aaron Fox?
Yes. I'm pretty sure your boy just shot 33% and lost in the game versus the Nuggets, so I wouldn't be talking too high and mighty. But Peyton Pritchard, rare off game. Drew Holiday, 1 of 6. Derek White, 1 of 5. So really bad efficiency, and also just not the volume we've come to expect from those guys in terms of Derek White especially. So I just thought the Celtics were really off. If you can hate on them all you want. They didn't show up. They didn't take this game seriously. Like, this is a rivalry. You need to take this seriously because fans care about this kind of stuff. I'm cool with that. But let's not pretend like the Lakers were actually just a way better team and crushed them and yada, yada, yada. Like, Max Christie cannot make Jaylen Brown go 9 of 19. Jaylen Brown goes 9 of 19 no matter who's guarding him. And sometimes he goes 16 of 19. And he looks like he's the best player on the Celtics if you believe in one game sample sizes. So this game for me, respect to LeBron for keeping the turnovers low. Obviously, I always like AD's game. I'm a pretty big fan of his. Just love the defense, offense, two-way player aspect. Gabe Vincent, want to shout out to him. Great minutes off the bench. He ended up getting into a lot of foul trouble, but I just loved every minute he was on the court. But this was the Celtics losing the game, and every person on the team deserves some blame, except I guess you could argue Kristaps Porzingis because he did have a good game. So I can exclude him. But yeah, Tatum, he wasn't inefficient, but he didn't take over. And Jaylen Brown, terrible. Peyton Pritchard, terrible. Derek White, I don't know, just wasn't shooting anything. So I hated this game from the Celtics side. And Lakers can enjoy the win, but I don't think they're the fifth best roster in the West. Just they're the fifth seed now. I don't think they're the fifth best.
Are you done?
Yeah, I think I explained how the Celtics lost the game.
Your response was satisfactory. Anyways, first of all, no respect being given to my Lakers. First of all, Anthony Davis, you said you like him, but you didn't mention the 3 blocks, 1 steal, absolute defensive monster. When you look at someone who can make the Celtics play worse, AD is one of those guys. When they drive to the rim, they are scared. You can say they're tired, it's a schedule loss, whatever. But the fact remains, when AD's in the paint, they're a lot more scared than some other big men. For example, if KP was on the Lakers, they would be nowhere near as scared as driving to the rim. Next, I want to talk about Max Christie. I know you have been very vocal in your critique of Max Christie, but this game, I think he properly shut you up. Just a great defense from him. Just really love the defense he was playing. He's a great complement to AR-15. We've talked about how the Lakers could not run a two defensive cone guard lineup. Max Christie was brought in to remedy that issue. He's playing the defense they need. And I also like the 3-ball. His only shots last night were from the 3-point arc. He's quite literally personifying 3-and-D, which I love to see. We know there's tons of sample size. LeBron really benefits from having guys who can shoot the 3-ball and play defense. So Max Christie brings both those things. Next, I know you've been big on DFS, talking about how he's a gem and Lakers need to be using him more. He had 0 points last night. Do you want to talk about your boy DFS putting up an absolute donut? He and I scored the same amount of points last night, so I'm just a little confused.
The Lakers are ruining him. They have no idea. The Lakers' fault. They have no idea what they're. Yeah, 100%.
And they ruined Taurean Prince too, and they ruined Russell Westbrook. Is that what you're saying?
If you could, no. Russell Westbrook was a dumb trade by Le GM. Taurean Prince was overrated.
He's killing it now in the Bucks. He's
not killing it on the Bucks. Well. He's not killing it, bro.
He's doing better than what we're doing in the Lakers.
Well, because some guys do struggle with the pressure on them. That's just the reality of it. I don't think Dorian Finney-Smith is struggling with the pressure of it.
I mean, it seems like it is. He's crumbling.
He just doesn't know. Is he starting? Is he off the bench? He's not even playing today. Like, there's no consistency in how he's being handled. Because if you're good on the dysfunctional franchise that is the Brooklyn Nets,
with no attention on him, he played freely.
Now I don't feel like he's choking under the pressure though. He's just like he's scared to just shoot the ball, which is a culture thing. You have to let him know, like, bro, shoot, go crazy. And also Max Christie, 3-and-D. It's because he went 2 of 12 so many games in a row, and people like me were calling that out. That I think the coaching staff was just like, hey, bro, just stop putting up shots. You're the worst shooter on this team. Yeah, okay. If you reduce his offensive output by half, then it's addition by subtraction because you took out some of the worst shots the Lakers take all game. I'll give you that, but I don't really think that's a credit to Max Christie. That's a credit to the coaching staff for realizing he's trash on offense.
You need to have a willingness to give up the shots.
I'm so willing to be a starter for the Lakers despite being terrible. Oh, no, praises me. What are we talking about here, bro? But DFS, y'all say hating on him. If y'all don't want to use him, trade him then. Trade him.
Well, I'm just saying 0 points. All you're telling me is to trade the guy who's scoring 0 points. Okay, thanks.
But he's scoring 0 points because, first of all, even on the Brooklyn Nets, he only gives you like 6 to 9 points. He's not a high scorer, but it's going to be super high efficiency. He was shooting 45% from 3, and he's going to give you great defense. That's the thing.
I didn't see any of that last night. On 20 minutes. He's played 20 minutes, which is not a small amount of time.
But it's not steady 20 minutes. You need to give him 20 minutes every night.
Okay, but I still don't think he should be starting over Rui Hachimura because I don't think you can't bench Max Christie because he's a guard. You can't bench a guard for a forward. So if you're looking at Rui Hachimura, I don't think you would bench him because.
Well, I think you can play DFS as a big too, but I'd bench Rui for him as well.
But
he's better than both those guys. So pick one.
Okay, I disagree. Cause I feel like Rui Hachimura, he's a lot more versatile. He can give you defense, scoring, rebounding, and playmaking.
Rui cannot defend.
Yes,
He tricking y'all. That's fake defense, bro. That's fake defense. Watch Rui Hachimura, bro. It's so easy to get layups on him. Remember when people were saying he was the Jokic stopper?
Oh,
and then he immediately got blasted
those fans
every
were
game.
crazy. I don't represent those delusional fans. So. But if you watch him play, he gives you a solid amount of defense. That's what I'm saying. He's versatile.
Nah, he can do mediocre defense.
He can do everything pretty well.
And he shoots a bunch of dumb middies. It's not hot. Not a great 3-ball either. Not a great passer. He gets you some rebounds. I can give you that.
Yeah, he is quite a good rebounder. But we can agree to disagree. Next, I want to talk about the Celtics because you slid in some Jaylen Brown slander. You're completely giving your boy JT. Okay, yeah.
I was very clear and upfront with it.
Okay, cool.
JB is the worst starter on the Celtics.
Your JT glaze was clear. That is true. So you completely give your boy JT a pass for not showing up at all against a historic rivalry game. It's a schedule. I don't care. He wasn't even trying to play his best basketball, even though this is a matchup beloved by fans. So that was sad to see. And I agree, Jaylen Brown did not have a good game. But I take offense with the fact that you think JB does not take over when JT's playing well. That's literally how the 1A, 1B narrative began, when JT would often have bad games because he's not the most consistent star in our league. Jaylen Brown would take over, and he would have those big games. And that's how we got that narrative of 1A, 1B, because Jaylen Brown picked up the slack when JT couldn't.
It's so easy for Jaylen Brown because anytime he has a good game, everyone want to start riding him and glazing him. But when he has a bad game, no one wants to call him out on it. Whereas it's the opposite for Jason Tatum. Like, Jason Tatum, do you realize he has the Game 7 record versus the Philadelphia 76ers when he absolutely smokes them?
I mean, it's the Sixers.
It's him and Curry. Curry set the record earlier that night or like the day before, and then Tatum broke it. Like, this is the caliber of player we're talking about. He is taller than LeBron. He's arguably faster than LeBron. Strong. He's getting you 9, 10 rebounds. Very good, proficient passer. Better than Paolo Banchero and a bunch of the guys that are now being coined as like the new LeBron. He's a better passer than those guys. Obviously a better passer than Jaylen Brown. Incredible defender. One of the, not quite Giannis level, but really one of those guys whose defense is slept on. Great shooter. Like, he can do everything. And he's criticized for going 5 of 12. Listen, he was inefficient. I agree with you.
5 of 12
Jaylen Brown was similarly bad and just took 7 more bad shots.
So why is JT shying away? Why isn't he trying to take over the game? If he's truly the first option,
every time he was taking a bunch of shots, everyone was talking about how you got to stop doing these dumb step back Kobe threes and let your teammates flourish. That's what he's doing. It's what LeBron does. Like
LeBron doesn't go 5 of 12 because he can get to the rim at will. He had that.
He goes against defenders like AD. LeBron gets to the rim at will right matchups.
Prime LeBron doesn't matter who the matchup is. I'm not gonna compare 40-year-old LeBron.
Prime LeBron couldn't shoot like Tatum. Prime LeBron couldn't shoot like Tatum.
Yeah, but he could drive way better.
Okay, that's just a strength.
But if you look at the field goal, LeBron would never play this poorly. So if you,
wait, are you telling me LeBron, the guy who had the 2011 Dallas Mavericks?
Okay, 2011, that's one playoff series.
But you can't say this guy would never go 5 of 12.
But he would never play that bad.
He had a game versus the Pacers where he shot like 30% from the field. He just put up because he was the only option.
But then he was passing as well.
Okay, Tatum passes.
But he didn't pass as well. LeBron is
an overrated passer because no one talks about his turnovers.
That's crazy.
Tatum has them low turnovers.
That's absurd. I'm not trying to compare JT to prime LeBron. You can never. He's not even the same breath as him. But my ultimate point is that you're giving JT a pass, but I don't see why. You probably have JT as a top 5 in the NBA.
Yeah.
You need to treat him as such. When he goes 5 of 12, that's trash.
No, I agree. I would have liked to see him shoot more.
Not putting a bigger impact on the game, whether it be passing, defense, scoring, any of these things.
I mean,
I didn't see any of that.
He was playing defense.
He was playing defense.
I liked his rebounding. I liked his passing.
But that's all good when he's giving you 28 on efficient number.
I agree.
But if he can't do that, what's he doing?
My issue is that he actually thinks Jaylen Brown is anywhere close to him in skill level. I agree. Don't let Jaylen Brown take 19 shots. Tell that one-handed boy to send the ball right back and go at it. Go right at it. So I agree. If you want to criticize Tatum, sure. But I also think it's the regular season. They are tired. And it's all about letting everybody get their shot. Like, you gotta remember, Kristaps Porzingis was putting up a lot of shots too. He was hot from the first quarter. So I think there's also that element
because every starter except KP took way less shots than normal. About the volume was so low.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I just feel like they were tired and they knew it. If you know you're not on one, and if you shoot the shot, it's probably not going in compared to your normal shots, you would want to spread it out so that you don't shoot your team out of the game. Because I feel like if Tatum went 8 of 20, if he'd shot the amount of shots you're telling him that he should have, then everyone would be like, oh, he shot his team out the game. He's selfish. He doesn't know how to pass. He doesn't know how to let his team do what they need to do. I just feel like Tatum can't win. Y'all haters ain't going to give him an out.
I'm saying pick a path, right?
I like his path. I like his path. I like his path of letting his team get to their spots.
Let his team lose. That's what he did.
No.
Yes.
Nah. He is the best player on this team.
He said, let me chill, let
them.
me sit back while all my teammates except KP are playing poorly.
Nah, man. Y'all stay hating. I didn't think he did anything weird compared to how the rest of the team was. They were just low energy. You could see it from the get-go. Their defense, their offense, how they're moving, their screens. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve some criticism, but to say it's all his fault or anything is crazy. The whole team was just low energy. Mm-hmm. So what do you want me to say about that?
He should get the lion's share of blame because he's the first option, as you say. He's a star.
It's a regular season
top 5
game.
player in the NBA.
No,
and we're gonna.
So why can't? So Jaylen Brown can never get. He can get the lion's share of the credit, but he can never get the lion's share of the blame. That's what you're saying right now. Because people be giving Jaylen Brown lion's share of the credit, even though everything he does is easier.
Well, if he plays well, then yeah, he deserves the lion's share of credit.
He can only play well because he has Jason Tatum on his team.
Okay.
So it's like, by your logic, Jason Tatum should be getting the credit, all of those wins, because he's the best player. His mere existence. He gets
that credit, yes.
No, he doesn't. No one gives Jason Tatum credit.
No one is. I don't know who no one is.
You and your legion of haters.
No, I'm not
all y'all haters.
I'm not a hater.
Probably think Deuce is better at basketball than Jason Tatum. Y'all be saying corny stuff like that on the timeline.
You keep bringing up narrative. You keep talking about how malaligned your star is. I'm just saying you're being a JT Glazer by not properly assigning the blame he deserved. I'm just pointing out, at a top 5 player in the league, he didn't look like one last night. He didn't play like one.
For being tired?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, so what? It is what it is. How you gonna why is Peyton Pritchard going 2 of 12? Why is Derek White going 1 of 5? Why is Drew Holiday going 1 of 6? No, these are the role players that compose a super team. If these guys are just role players now and they're nothing special, don't be telling me I got a super team. Pick one. Pick a lane, bro. Right now, do we have a super team?
Of course.
Okay, so then my super team choked.
Okay, but
all the players
still matter. Your star still gets a lion's share of the responsibility.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown, I agree. 8 of 19, bump. All my role players. So
now you're saying Jaylen Brown is the star of this team. Okay, good.
He is a star. Y'all be saying he does star. If he does star, this is what happens when Jaylen Brown is your first option. Just so everybody knows, this is what you can expect if Jaylen Brown was actually the Celtics' first option. So all y'all 1A, 1B people, you're tripping, bro. It's 1 and it's 2. And 2 might be Derek White.
No way. That's absurd.
Let's keep it a buck.
How many finals MVP does Jason Tatum have?
Bro.
0.
You know
how many finals MVPs
How many finals
does
MVPs
Derek White have?
Andre Iguodala
0.
have? How many finals MVPs does Andre Iguodala have?
1.
How many finals MVPs does CP3 have?
0.
Okay, so Andre Iguodala is a better player, right? Say it.
He's more clutch.
Okay.
He's more clutch.
Okay.
I'll say it.
Okay, he's more clutch. Is he the better player? Is he the better player?
I didn't say no. I don't think
okay, so how many finals MVPs does Jaylen Brown have?
1.
How many does Jason Tatum have?
0.
Who's a better player?
Jaylen Brown.
So you
because he showed up.
You tripping.
No, you can't use Iggy and CP3 to say
that's literally the gap. That's absurd. That's literally the gap.
CP3 is one of the best point guards in the league. Iguodala is Iguodala.
Jason Tatum is a top 5 player
in the NBA. Yes, I know.
Yes, in the entire NBA.
Yes.
Jaylen Brown. Who is Jaylen Brown without Jason Tatum? He's Andre Iguodala, bro.
No, he's not Andre Iguodala, but I do agree there is a gap.
Oh, okay. There's a gap now. There's a gap now.
It's 1A, 1. I still think it's 1A, 1B. If Kyrie and Luka, are they 1A, 1B?
Kyrie's infinitely better than Jaylen Brown. Yeah, that's a 1A,
1A, 1B. Okay, then JT and JB are obviously 1A, 1B.
You have Kyrie and Jaylen Brown.
Luka smokes Kyrie's pack. Okay, so I don't think
no, he doesn't.
Yes,
no, he doesn't. Is that why Dallas just beat OKC without Luka's bum fouling?
PJ Washington.
Oh my God.
PJ Washington. That's simply what it was.
Jaylen Brown is a PJ Washington level player.
No.
Yes.
PJ Washington would not have been able to stop Luka Doncic. He wouldn't have won Finals MVP.
PJ Washington you just said he was the best player versus OKC.
Yeah,
was the best team in the game.
Okay, one game. We can look at last year's Finals series where PJ Washington did play, and wow, surprisingly, he didn't make much of an impact. While at the same time, Jaylen Brown.
That matchup is just harder for him because of Al Horford.
Jaylen Brown won Finals MVP, and you're trying to give responsibility for Al Horford.
Al Horford shut down Joel Embiid.
You give responsibility to Al Horford for stopping anybody, which is just crazy.
Al Horford would destroy your best player. Jaylen Brown versus Al Horford. Al Horford's winning that.
That's crazy.
I'm saying it.
That's crazy.
Like,
So
I'm
you
tired.
think
I'm
Albert-
tired of this JB writing. I'm tired of this JT hating, and no one ever wants to like talk about the role players. But that's cool.
'Cause they're studs.
On other teams, I understand you don't want to blame the role players, but you cannot take away credit from JT day in, day out by saying he has a superstar team. And then when the superstar team all choke, it's like, well, JT, man, he's got to be the number one option. What is he doing?
I'm not giving all the other guys a pass.
Yes, you are.
No.
You haven't mentioned Derek White's name once this entire segment. Run the tape back. You haven't mentioned Drew Holiday's name once this entire segment.
Because you went straight to them.
Bro, they went 2 of 11.
And you
That's
glazed
trash.
over. You glazed over Jason Tatum. Just like how you talk about Jason Tatum, you talked about the game last time the same way. You glazed over Jason. Okay? And you went straight to the role players. The role players are studs. That's a fact. Derek White is one of the best defensive guards in the league, and he can shoot the heck of the ball from the three-point line. Peyton Pritchard is 6th man. He's one of the best three-point shooters in the league.
Was he last night? Were any of those guys doing that last night?
They didn't perform, but neither did JT. That's my ultimate point. The role players didn't perform, and your first option, your superstar,
But the role
didn't
players
perform either.
underperform more.
I
The role
disagree.
players
5 of
underperform
12
more.
is pathetic. That's not good.
1 of 6 is better.
Okay, but the standards changes. The standards change.
Is the standard for Drew Holiday, NBA champion, or Derek White,
two-time NBA champion,
the most threes made, like one of the most threes made in the league? Like, it's like Ant, Curry, and Derek White, right? That's like the top 3 3-point shooters. That guy's allowed to just go 1 of 5 in a historic matchup, in a marquee matchup versus the Los Angeles Lakers, being guarded by Max Christie.
Yeah, Max Christie. Why you say his name like that?
Bro,
he plays defense.
Max Christie.
He plays defense.
Max Christie is not locking
Saying
anybody
his
out.
name 3 times
it's
won't make
fake
him appear.
defense, bro. It's fake defense. I hope he doesn't appear.
What?
I hope it doesn't appear on my screen
Yeah,
either.
lock you
DFS,
up.
start over him.
He'll probably lock you up too.
Nah,
so
bro.
why? Anyways, ultimately, I'll bring the segment to a close. This is my main, my piece de resistance, if you will.
Piece of the resistance.
Jason Tatum and the Celtics kryptonite is Bronny James, and that's why they lost.
You said Bronny James.
How you gonna be a superstar when you lose to Bronny James?
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
That's why LeBron dominated Jaylen Brown, because of what he said about Bronny. So I can even further blame Jaylen Brown. He needs to keep his mouth shut when he's not that level of
You
guy.
probably blame Klay Thompson too for insulting LeBron James.
Yes,
in the
everyone
2016
knows
finals.
Klay Thompson unlocked a new level of LeBron and brought that out onto themselves. So Klay Thompson and Jaylen Brown, 2 bums.
So the beauty of it
I think that's the wrap up of this segment.
We end this segment. The Lakers won, and that's all I need.
Hey man, enjoy that win. Enjoy that win while y'all got it. And welcome back to the next segment of the 50-50 show. This is Omar. As always, this is Omair. This time we're going to be talking about the Mavs upsetting the OKC Thunder last night. The Dallas Mavericks won 121-115 in an upset in a game that had a spread of 12. Kyrie Irving, 28 points. PJ Washington, 22-19. Spencer Dinwiddie, 28 points. Obviously a great game from the Dallas Mavericks side. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams leading OKC Thunder from that end. Omair, what do you make of this loss? And then specifically, with the success the Dallas Mavericks have had while waiting for Luka to come back, do you think they're going to make it to the conference finals this year? Are they a top 2 team in the league, in the West? Where do you come down on their championship hopes this year?
I thought you were about to ask me if they were going to make the NBA Finals. If the question is conference finals, that's a resounding yes.
No, NBA Finals.
NBA Finals, I'll say yes to that too. But conference finals is a definite. NBA Finals, I'm confident. Here's why. First, let's talk about PJ Washington. Me being a Mavs fan, I understood the importance to the team last year in that playoff run, especially in that Oklahoma City series. You could really see the value PJ Washington was bringing to the team. With Luka being out, even the more casual fan now understands its importance. I'm first going to talk about offense, then we'll also talk about defense. He's absolutely a dominant two-way player, especially when Luka's not playing. The ball is in his hands more. He can showcase his offensive abilities, and therefore the casual fan will better understand him. I've talked about it. His floater game, phenomenal. And then last night, we all saw his ability to get to the rim and finish properly like a real star, going into anyone's chest, not being scared, driving well, some back down game, some post-ups. This in general, just a strong interior game from PJ Washington, which makes sense. He's quite strong with the 19 rebounds. He just, in general, is a physically pretty dominant player while having the finesse and skill for things like floaters and hook shots. So it's a great combination, deadly. And on the defense side, he played great defense. It was like SGA, J-Dub, didn't matter. He was doing his best to stay in front of them. One thing I will note, and this is why absolutely my point is contingent on a healthy Luka Doncic. Because I'm not one of those Luka haters like, oh, they're better without Luka, which is a crazy take. If you think that, you're crazy. Let me know in the comments if you disagree. But PJ Washington, he had 5 turnovers, which is not great. You know, as we know with Cade Cunningham, turnovers can really kill a team. And so it didn't matter this game because the Mavs were firing on all cylinders. Great performance from, multiple players. But those 5 turnovers definitely could have been a game changer, which is when I like when Luka comes back, the ball being in his hands more.
So he can have 5 turnovers.
No, well, that's the thing. Even though he may not be the most secure ball handler, he gets those turnovers going for high-risk, high-reward plays. While someone like Washington, he might just get the ball stripped because he's just not the most adept ball handler. So, Luka and his turnover woes, if he has them, I don't care because it's really going to be high-risk, high-reward plays. If he doesn't have them, well, it's because he's one of the best players in the NBA. He knows how to take care of the ball. Then, looking at Dinwiddie, so for me, I like Dinwiddie, but the level of play we saw last night, I definitely think was not normal. It was above his average. We won't be seeing that every night, but I want to shout him out because he did play really well. Just absolutely playing like a shooting guard, just putting points up. Great performance from him overall. Kyrie, I really loved the game last night. 4 of 8 from 3 was phenomenal, and I just liked that right now the way the Mavs are running, Kyrie didn't have to be like a proper quote unquote first option. You know how Luka was before Kyrie joined the team. He very much split the responsibilities with Dinwiddie and PJ Washington. Sometimes Dinwiddie's bringing the ball up. Sometimes Washington's bringing the ball up. Their sets are being ran for them. Plays are being ran for them. Not everything's running through Kyrie. So then, the ball swinging to Kyrie, you got the green light to do what Kyrie does best. And so that was just great to see. And then finally for the Mavs, and I keep going, that's really why I think they can go to the finals, is Daniel Gafford. Of course, everyone should know him as being just a lob threat, just catcher of Luka Doncic lobs, but his defense is incredibly underrated. He's really good at defense, and not just his rim defense of being tall and long. He's also incredibly nimble and quick. And last night, I saw him take SGA, right, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, some people's NBA MVP, from the perimeter, keep up with him, and swat his layup into the stands. That was just mind-blowing for me.
Fourth quarter off a screen, too.
Exactly. It was pick and roll. When most big men, like maybe Rudy Gobert for one, look stupid playing
Gobert with stuff,
playing pick and roll against some of the best offensive talent, not Gafford. He kept up with him, and he just showed why he's such a great defender. So that's for me, seeing this all around performance where every role player and even Kyrie, the second option, their best attributes were showcased last night. So I think even more the casual fans should now understand why I believe they can make it to the finals, because their roster is actually well constructed. This is a rare W for the Mavericks front office. Is really loving what I'm seeing with the team. Last year, obviously, they made it to the finals. They're running it back with the same roster. I see no reason why they can't do well, especially when it seems like these players, like the cohesion, the chemistry is only improving. With Luka being out, they're not faltering, they're not crumbling, they're finding a way to get wins, which I really like to see. And my final point is the Mavericks defense. They were able to keep up with the Oklahoma City Thunder's small ball lineup. I believe Hart was out, I think. Yeah, he was out. Then obviously we know Chet. OKC trends towards that small ball lineup, which some teams are really vulnerable to, but not the Mavericks. They kept up. And mind you, this is without Derek Lively. Okay, so we had Derek Lively back. The defense gets even better. Small ball all night? No way. No problem. We'll keep up. You got more bigger, longer, stronger? Okay, well, Lively should be back. We're going to be able to handle that as well. So I'm feeling great about the Mavericks defense and offense. And this is without Luka, mind you. So when Luka comes back, I have him as a top 5 player in the NBA. Don't at me. So I think the Mavs will be, they're in a great situation.
Man. Okay. Well, I think the first thing I want to get off my chest about this game before I even address that question from the OKC side, J-Dubs, better efficiency than Shea, same number of assists, 7, and 3 steals.
Still worse than Sabonis.
Or 4 steals.
Worse than Sabonis.
And same amount of turnovers. So this was really important to me because J-Dub, remember, they just played against Dallas maybe a week ago. They had no Shea, and they lost. And people like you were trying to put a lot of the blame on J-Dub, and even I had to admit, like, wow, that was a bad game. That was a stinker of a game. This game, I was talking about this last time we did a segment on that, though. When he has a first option, J-Dub is a great second option because he outperformed his first option. Like, when the pressure was...
like Jaylen Brown, very Jaylen Brown of him.
He's what people think Jaylen Brown is, yeah. And what Jaylen Brown does in the playoffs... more so. J-Dub does that in the regular season and the playoffs. So
less so in the playoffs.
So this game was close because J-Dub kept them there. Now, let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks in this game, and then I'll talk about their future hopes. This game was just variance. They just got lucky. And I'm talking as a guy.
As a hater.
The spread was 12. I had Dallas plus 12. I had Dallas losing this game by 7 on average, right? So obviously I disagreed heavily with the market, but the win is still a major upset no matter how you slice it. Daniel Gafford, almost perfect from the field. PJ Washington, 22 and 19. Yeah, and 3 steals and 2 blocks. He usually does well versus OKC, but this is maybe his best performance to date, excluding playoffs just because of the pressure, right? Dallas had 7 more turnovers. It was 20-13, but the sheer amount of rebounds PJ Washington got was able to make up for it. And then I look at Kyrie, 4 of 8 from 3, and then I think the biggest thing that you didn't really touch on at all, I mean, you touched on it a little bit, Spencer Dinwiddie, 28 points, 11 of 14. That's not sustainable at all. The man's line are like 12 points. So they won by 6. Dinwiddie easily scored, 16 above average.
And they had no Luka, though, but no Luka.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. But that's why they should lose this matchup without Luka, is because that was crazy efficiency to put up while PJ's going off, while Kyrie's doing well, while even Prosper off the bench was looking pretty good. Like, the whole team was just firing on all cylinders. And respect to Dallas for getting that done. They even outperformed my expectations of them. But I don't think this game was like OKC didn't struggle. They put up 115. It's just Dallas was supposed to be able to only score like 107, and they scored 121. And I mostly attribute, because PJ Washington was only 6 of 16. So while he was killing it in every other way, his efficiency wasn't amazing. Yeah. I really give that to Spencer Dinwiddie. And I'm as high on Spencer Dinwiddie as anybody. I think I was telling you the other day he could take De'Aaron Fox's spot if he had to, right?
Crazy.
So I'm obviously really high on him. But this is unsustainable. This isn't realistic. Much credit to him, much love to him for being able to pull that off. You really need that win to keep you in the standings while you're waiting for Luka to come back. But this doesn't really change anything for me. It just reinforces what I've been saying, what I've been putting my money where my mouth is, that this team without Luka is better than people realize. So that's not really shade on Luka. It's just I feel people in the media, fans, they really think this team is Luka, Kyrie, and then like whatever else, right? Derek Lively wasn't even playing this game. Incredibly elite player that the team will need if they want to make it.
Third best player on this team.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
I could say that.
Maybe people say PJ Washington. I don't agree with that, but
it's definitely a debate.
PJ's good, obviously. So you got PJ's good. You got Lively's good. Kyrie, I've said I think he's the best second option in the league.
He's the second best option.
And he's just an incredible player. I have him pretty much over any player guys would name. I have
no
Kyrie
shame in
over
being
him.
behind the big bodega. No shame.
He's way better than the big bodega, aka Big Purr, aka Big. You know what?
Hey yo, what would be a cat hater or a cat glazer?
Hey yo. So then when Luka comes back, it'll be interesting because he wasn't playing very well this season. If you remember, his efficiency was down compared to his entire career. More turnovers than ever. He was looking winded on defense and. You know, this is like, he just didn't look like the same. And I'm not going to say that that's going to keep happening. If you remember, Wemby was struggling the first month of this season too, and I was the one saying, oh, it's just because of the Olympics. You have to chill. You have to give him time. It's just he had that struggle, and then he had those injuries, and now he hasn't played in a hot minute. So I wonder when he comes back how his form is going to be and how he's going to gel back with the team because, like you said, they've been stepping up. They've been getting new, bigger roles ever since Luka's been gone. And this is an extended absence. Like I think he hasn't played in almost a month now. Yeah. So I don't know when he's coming back, but I worry a little about that for their championship run. But to actually get to the heart of this question, will they make it to the NBA Finals? It's a really interesting one because to me, Dallas is not the second best team in the West. Okay, I put someone like the Nuggets over Dallas.
Really?
Especially in the playoffs, especially if Jamal's not going to do, if he's going to perform, if he's going to get back to where he is.
The Nuggets, right? They can win it all.
Exactly. So, but I have OKC as the best team, especially if Chet comes back and I expect him to be there. So what happens is Dallas has a really good matchup into OKC. We've seen it this regular season already twice, right?
We saw it last year in the playoffs as well.
Exactly. And then the year before that in the quarterfinals. Kleber is – actually, no, sorry. I'm thinking of the Minnesota one for Kleber. But PJ Washington obviously really kills versus OKC. Luka does well versus OKC. Kyrie does solid versus OKC. Lively, obviously really important. But both these regular season games that we saw this year were without Chet and without iHeart. And what we saw in the playoffs last year was without iHeart. And I think iHeart is actually a really important piece to winning this matchup because, like you said, they struggle versus PJ Washington. They're not great versus Gafford either. Obviously not great versus Lively. So iHeart, being the defensive specialist that you call him, he's really supposed to make up for that. So it's an interesting conundrum because I think OKC will make it to the Western Conference Finals. I have them as the best Western team. And they're right up there with Boston for just being the best team in the league. But if Dallas makes it to the Western Conference Finals, you can argue that matchup is the best matchup they could have gotten, even though OKC is a better team than a team like Denver, because I don't see Dallas beating Denver.
Yeah, if that matchup occurs, I think Nuggets take that one. Yeah. Especially being a Jokic fan, knowing what Joker can do in the playoffs, it would require some generational, fixing from Jamal Murray.
Yeah,
for the Mavs to win that one.
Because last year Minnesota beat Denver, which was the major upset. And then Minnesota was a good matchup for Dallas. That's what I was referencing a minute ago with Kleber. Kleber allows you to really punish Rudy Gobert. And if Rudy Gobert is not – if you're not playing towards his strengths as the Minnesota Timberwolves, it's impossible to win.
What strengths?
And being the best defensive player in the league and holding your boy Ant
being
up.
exploited in the pick and roll.
It's so funny because I feel like Ant just went 7 of 20 the other day, but you weren't talking about his shooting being exploited. Yeah, you bum. Anyways,
hey, yo.
Let's keep.
We share genetics, so what does that make you?
Half bum, duh.
And you're okay with that?
The gluteus maximus is the biggest muscle in a human body.
You tell me to cut off your nose just to spite your face.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I still win. But no, back to this
But
thing.
you have no nose.
I don't think Dallas is making it to the finals. I think the only hope Dallas fans have is that your matchup versus OKC is really good and you can upset that series. But I believe with iHeart and Chet on the floor, which they both are projected to be back easily by the playoffs, I have OKC winning that matchup, and therefore I have OKC winning pretty much every matchup in the league. Obviously, Denver, you never know. Jokic could go crazy, but I think they know how to beat Denver. They know how to let Jokic just go crazy, shut everyone else down with their amazing team defense, and they can win that matchup. So for me, no, Dallas is not making it to the NBA Finals. I'm not even sure they're making it to the conference finals because if they run into Denver early, then they're in trouble.
The West is a bit of a matchup. Roulette.
Exactly. Which one you draw.
If the Mavericks see the Nuggets early, then yeah. I should have mentioned that in my discussion. I think the Nuggets are the biggest X factor because obviously we say Thunder is the best team in the West. The standings, corroborate that. But the Nuggets, where I don't care where they're seated, if you see them in the playoffs, you need to be scared.
No, for sure. I'm not saying it just off standings, just player evaluation for me. Jokic is the best player in the
league,
in the entire league.
He's the most valuable player.
But Jamal, just the whole supporting cast of that Denver team is suspicious. Besides MPJ and Aaron Gordon, you know how I feel about the Denver bench. But not to get
Beastbrook. They got Beastbrook this year.
Not to get too distracted. My final answer is that impressive win today by Dallas, or last night, I should say. Dinwiddie, I've been high on him. I hope this showed some people how good offensively he can be. But obviously that wasn't sustainable offense. I thought OKC played fine. Jalen Williams played better than Shea, but both were fine. I didn't think anyone was like embarrassingly bad or should get a lot of blame or anything like that. Dallas just overperformed and they won. Much credit to them. But even with Luka back, I have them about the 4th or 3rd best in the West. Maybe I could even argue 2nd. But I still have them losing to OKC in the conference finals. So to answer the question of NBA finals, I have to say a resounding no, unlike my co-host. That's where I'm at.
That's a long path to a no.
Well, I know you are used to hearing no instantly off the rip, 3 seconds in, like, hey, can I? No.
That's crazy.
I like to make my message really hit and really deliver it in the way that it's supposed to be.
Okay, guy, let me tell you. So this guy's always losing the debates to me. So he always has to go for the personal attacks, the ad hominem attack. I don't stoop that low.
Call out one debate I've ever lost to. Call out one debate I've ever lost to. Never.
Oh, wait, what was the
Never.
last taping? 2 days ago? So, yeah.
Never.
4 debates you lost. And then we did a show 4 days before that, another 4 debates you lost. So,
bro,
that's the tracking anyway.
Bro, you try to call Evan Mobley a top 15 player in the league.
I said what I said. Yeah, I don't walk it back. And the final thing, though, with the Thunder, we got to talk about the supporting cast didn't show up. I mean, we're not going to talk about that. Like, SGA and J-Dub both had phenomenal nights. Like, J-Dub way overperformed who he is as a player, okay? He
does this day in, day out.
Yeah, 30-piece day in, day out. Then he should be winning MVP.
He really liked that. He really liked that.
And then his three-point shooting, he's 4 of 8.
Yep.
Day in, day out, 4 of 8 from 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's better than your boy DFS at shooting.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
No, wait, no, he's not.
Yeah,
I was listening. He's not better. DFS is one of the best three-point shooters in the league.
Yeah, okay. I think I bring the segment to a close.
No, it doesn't,
obviously.
Bro. No, it doesn't. You have me going on a roll.
Yeah.
That's a cheap little shot.
Let's let the fans decide. Guys, let us know in the comments who won this segment. I mean,
they're going to let you know you're tripping.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll
you're
find
tripping.
out.
That's what they're going to tell you.
Let the people talk.
Tired of hearing you talk. I know that.
Bienvenue or welcome back to another segment of the 50-50 show. I'm your host, Omair. As always, this is my co-host, Omar. Next, we'll be talking about the San Antonio Spurs taking on the Indiana Pacers in the country of France, in the city of Paris, where Victor Wembanyama absolutely shows out in his hometown to destroy the Indiana Pacers in a 140-point blowout. Omar, what are your takeaways from the game? What do you think about the Spurs' playoff chances? What do you think about the Pacers and their maybe championship hopes they had at one point? What do you think?
Okay, well, let's start with Wemby. 30 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 blocks, I think. Just a great game. I knew he was going to show out in Paris. It's often those narratives that people talk about, they're overblown. They don't really matter much. But how many games is Wemby going to get to play in front of Paris? This being his first one as an NBA player. So it was just always going to be special, and he showed out. They have another game coming up also here. So
Not tomorrow, but the day after that.
Yeah, check that one out. But I think he wanted to show off, and he did. I mean, there was a crazy sequence where he gets, out of his 5 blocks, he gets 3 of them in a row. He blocks, runs it down, passes, teammate gets a bucket. Blocks, runs it down, gives a pass, teammate gets a bucket. Blocks again. The commentator can't even keep up with how, because it's transition offense, and he just keeps blocking it. And then he runs it down. He passes it, cuts to the basket, gets it back, gets it lobbed, dunks it. So that's 6 points of offense and 3 turnovers for the opposing team, entirely created by Wemby. I mean, that's special. You can't make that up. And
I told you, top 10. I was on that.
That's what you expect out of Wemby. Now, I just want to mention, you said that real quick. Wemby has been backsliding before this game. A big reason why the Spurs are now 12th seed, they're struggling to even be in the play-ins for the West, is that I find when Wemby has a mediocre game, because he doesn't really have bad games, he's just too physically gifted, right? But when he has these mediocre games and he's really not willing the Spurs to victory, no one calls him out on it. I'm cool with that. He's a young player. In general, I think we're pretty harsh on young players. But if you only watch the highlights, you might be like Omair and think Wemby's a top 10 player. No, in this game, if he did this every game, yeah, I think he probably would be a top 10 player.
If he did this every game, but I'll tell you what it would be, top 5.
He's not
top 3.
Well, yeah, I agree. 30 points is crazy. But I mean, just he's not consistent yet, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. He's not consistent. And even in this game, he had 4 turnovers. He's very turnover prone. We've seen he struggles to dribble even versus other centers. Like Jokic, we saw in that second matchup of the Denver game. I really think that dribbling attempt broke the game in the fourth quarter, because when CP3 is holding the ball, it's a completely different game. Only 1 turnover this game. Devin Vassell, 5 turnovers. Wemby, 4 turnovers. These 2 specific young guys are really turnover prone, and at least one of them needs to get it together, get better at that.
Well, I give a pass to Wemby because when you look at any 7-footer who dribbles the ball a lot like Wemby does, they're all turnover prone.
Even Jaren Jackson Jr., who's like 6'10", sure. But it's something he needs to improve on. And I agree, it's way more egregious that Devin Vassell does it because he's a guard. Like, come on. This is
what excuse does
exactly.
He have. Yes.
So, but that's something to point out on why I don't have him as a top 10 player right now is I see sparks of amazingness from him, but he has mediocre games. He has the games where he has more turnovers than blocks. No, last night, amazing game. Much respect to him. And then I just want to talk about Halliburton real quick. I thought he had a good game, especially in the first half. He ended up 3 of 7 from 3, but he made 2 of those threes in the first half. And because the Spurs are just not good versus the 3-ball anyways, recently they've been allowing a lot of threes made and a lot of attempts. They're bottom 10 team at limiting 3-point attempts from point guards and pull-up 3-point attempts. So when you look at the Spurs defense, one of the main ways you attack them is the 3-ball. Tyrese Halliburton, Miles Turner, probably your 2 best bets of doing that. Tyrese Halliburton, he did his job. Miles Turner did not. 6 of 17 from the field. I don't remember a specific 3-point percentage, but I know it wasn't good. That's obviously in the 30-point blowout, you can never put the blame on only one player, but I really thought Miles Turner failed to show up offensively with the 3-point firepower that they needed. Even with Benedict Mathurin going 11 of 14, really good stuff. It's not enough when Pascal Siakam can't get you rebounds, who, I thought he underperformed. Miles Turner not performing on the offensive end. I actually thought Halliburton did fine. He's the player I would put some of the least blame to on the Indiana Pacers because he came out in the first half and attacked them exactly the way he was supposed to. But in the second half, his teammates did not step up and it just got blown out. And then I want to circle back to the Spurs real quick. Obviously, CP3, amazing game. I think 7 assists, 1 turnover. Come on, guys. No one. It's not sexy. Literally, he is. You look at him. It's not looking like prime CP3. Okay, I get it. Any guy with a 7-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, like that's amazing, guys. Giving up a turnover is so bad, and he just never does. And he's really keeping the team afloat. And he's one of the biggest reasons the Spurs have more wins right now than they did in the entirety of last year. It's really like, yeah, Wemby got better, obviously. But CP3 is a major, major deal. But, shout out to Trey Jones. He's coming up. I told you, I think Trey Jones is a really good point guard. It's just that CP3 is even better.
He's poised to replace
Exactly.
CP3.
He's poised to replace him. And I loved how he did this game because he had, I think, 8 assists in 18 minutes, 11 points on 5 of 6 shooting. Just an amazing game from Trey Jones. I understand he came in off the bench. It's sort of, fluff minutes because you're already so ahead on the Pacers. But I just think it's important to shout out because I think he is very important to the future of this team. Devin Vassell gets more minutes, gets more shine right now because they just need a guy to shoot the ball because CP3 can't. But once and if CP3 leaves, Trey Jones is going to step up to be the point guard who's playing with Wemby and who has to unlock Wemby. Besides that, I think obviously Spurs just shot a little hot, right? Like Harrison Barnes, 9 of 10. I think Spurs overall were shooting like 55% from the field, 45% from 3, something crazy like that. So do I think they're 30 points better than the Pacers? No. I think the Spurs are still going to struggle in the West because Wemby's going to struggle to do this day in, day out. Devin Vassell is going to be inefficient. He was quite efficient today. He's normally not. He's still going to have this level of turnovers. And I think the Pacers, they probably struggled. Because remember, they didn't get the hometown buff of getting to go to Paris and seeing Wemby's hometown and just basically getting to be like stars.
The funny you mentioned that, this actually counts as a home game for Indiana.
Yeah, that's crazy to me because I definitely think they were impacted. Like, I'm not one of those guys who's like, oh, it's a back-to-back, so you can't even play the game or anything like that.
Unless you're talking about the Celtics.
No. That is a brutal trip. That is a brutal trip. Okay. I'm talking about just a normal back-to-back. So the Celtics schedule
matters, but when it's the Pacers, it
no,
I'm
matter. Saying the schedule. I'm saying the schedule did matter here. You're trying to make it sound like I'm saying traveling to Paris to play a game it's unique enough, it's strange enough that I could believe that players sort of struggled with that. Just like that Celtics schedule is brutal enough that I think it actually could affect you. I was saying I just don't care too much about like common back-to-backs. So yeah, I think the Pacers
like
underperformed.
PG, you don't care about back-to-backs.
But I think Spurs overperformed. 140 points, not at all the norm for them. Wemby overperformed, Harrison Barnes overperformed, Devin Vassell overperformed, Trey Jones overperformed, and I love that for my team. I love that they're improving. I love that they're getting better, but I know a lot of guys, they'll watch this game or they'll watch the highlights of this game, and they won't understand why the Spurs are still 20-22 and not even in the play-ins right now. It's because we do not get this day in, day out from any of these players except CP3. CP3, you're going to get 7 to 9 assists every night. You're going to get
anywhere from 0 to 3 points, definitely.
Okay, if that's so true, then how about you go bet the under 9.5 and get your money stolen from you half the nights? Because he's not scoring a ton. I'm not going to lie about that. But it's still 10 points.
Single digits.
It's 10 points.
9.5 is single digits.
10 points on a highly efficient shooting, great assist to turnover ratio, great defense. It's just amazing. I just want to shout out CP3 because he's the guy keeping us here, even though I feel like he's not discussed nearly as much as Wemby or even some of the other younger talents like Devin Vassell. That's the main thing I want to say for the Spurs. Devin Vassell is the kind of guy that makes us not be in the play-ins. CP3 is the reason why we're not in the lottery. That's my final take on the Spurs.
All right, my turn?
Yeah, go for it. If you even have anything to add, useful. In your head, mentally. Warfare.
See, I was going to go easy on you, but now
let me see what you got.
First of all, on the Indiana Pacers, I categorically, completely disagree on what cost them this game. First and foremost, it's just the rebounding. It's just pathetic. The Pacers, Spurs, I think almost had 70 rebounds. They completely destroyed the Pacers on the glass. The primary blame, of course, goes to Miles Turner with only 3 boards at a center. That is terrible. I know you brought up Miles Turner, but I don't think you completely emphasized how bad it was, the rebounding. But also as a team for the Pacers, mind you, because CP3, he got 8 rebounds. Who's boxing brother out? What? He is 6 foot. Him and I are the same height, okay?
I don't know about
I'll just slide that in there. Anyways, okay, so I absolutely put some of the responsibility, not just Miles Turner, because not just the center's job to get rebound. It's Halliburton. It's Siakam. Why can't Halliburton box out CP3? Okay, he's supposed to be such an athlete. He's so fast. He's so tall. You love Halliburton. He can't even box out 40-year-old CP3. He's busy thinking about Kim Kardashian more than getting rebounds, but he still somehow beat Halliburton on the glass.
That's blasphemy, bro. That's
No,
blasphemy.
it's really not. Shout out Mathurin. Sorry, let me show. Yeah, Mathurin.
Benedict.
Yeah,
Benedict Mathurin.
Yeah, it's Benny. Shout out Benny. He an above average rebounder, just had a great game. Obviously not enough when you're superstar, or was really a star at this point. Tyrese Halliburton absolutely does not show up.
Yeah, there's no superstar on the Pacers. There's no superstar on the Pacers.
Was cool. 13 points. That's unacceptable. Terrible. But I absolutely put most of the blame on Halliburton. I don't care if he makes 2 threes at the beginning of the game, the end of the game. It doesn't matter. You know, as the greats say, it doesn't matter how you start, it's how you arrive. Okay, and Halliburton did not arrive. He flamed out somewhere in the middle, and there's a car crash that needs to be taken care of. Anyway, let's not get too...
Yeah, Miles Turner was the car crash. Tyrese Halliburton pulled over to watch it.
No, Halliburton is literally on the side of the road. His car is struggling based on the game last night. So he hit like 3 of 7. That's trash. You know, I don't care. Like I said, 2 in a row doesn't matter.
Trash at all.
3 of 7 is not good.
It was like 41%.
Okay, you're right. It's not trash, but it's not great. So I misspoke.
That's better than any. What do you mean?
There's
nothing wrong with his threes.
Okay, but fine. Even if it's not 3, it's his inside game. He's lacking the inside game. You can't just.
It's difficult against Wemby to have an inside game.
Okay, still Siakam. He was 70%. The main thing with Siakam. That's why I don't put the main blame on him. He was 70% from the field. I'm just confused.
He wasn't rebounding. Siakam wasn't rebounding.
I'm confused why he didn't shoot more. That's the only thing I had with Siakam. Halliburton, he did not get it done on offense. He's not rebounding either. So they both aren't rebounding, but at least Siakam got it done on offense. Halliburton, he shot a couple 3, which is cool, but inside game, there's nothing to speak of.
Well, because Siakam had Harrison Barnes on him, who's a good defender.
Harrison Barnes!
And then CP3 was on Tyrese Halliburton. Miles Turner got the great matchup on the Wemby because Wemby kept playing drop coverage on him to cover the paint, and then Miles Turner couldn't hit a 3. And Benedict Mathurin got the Devin Vassell matchup, a.k.a. the cone matchup. That's why he went 11 to 14.
So you're trying to tell me CP3, 6 foot, old as heck, locked up Tyrese Halliburton. And
CP3 could lock up your favorite guard. Name a guard. Jamal Murray, locked up. De'Aaron Fox, locked up.
Never.
Tyler Hero, locked up.
Next time
CP3 will lock all of them up.
Next time Spurs and Kings play, I'll keep track. I'll let you know.
Your guy went like 25% today versus Russell Westbrook and Jamal Murray.
He's struggling with injury. I don't want to hear it.
He's struggling with being a good basketball player. Why don't you say what it really is?
Well, I'm sure you dealt with a lot of glute soreness in your life. So I'm sure you understand how weird it can be to come back to being an athlete. So I think you can understand that.
I take it like a champ. I'll move on every day. Boom. Uno card, reverse. You weren't ready for that.
What you do on your personal time, I'm never going to judge you for it. But
then why'd you bring it up? Then why'd you bring it up?
Affect the show.
Then why'd you bring it up?
Let's stay on topic because you want to get
I'm better than De'Aaron Fox at handling it.
You're one of those guys when you're losing debate, you have to go outside the sphere in which you're talking about.
You're the one who took it to my glutes.
Topic. So now we'll get back on topic. I'm going to keep it there. So Pacers, obviously, we got to blame Halliburton. He's having a great game. 13 points is just bad.
That's just normal. Like 16s is normal.
In the modern NBA, if you can't average 20, you are not a star. Unless you are superb at defense.
Bro,
Halliburton's not there.
He averages 16 and 9.
Darius Garland averages 20, and homie sits out most end of game because his team keeps winning.
I mean, he's not a superstar. Tyrese Halliburton is not a superstar. I agree with you.
Okay.
He's on, like, what do you want? But you don't. Like, what do you want me to put the blame on him for? It's his fault Miles Turner goes 6 of 17. Tyrese Halliburton would have had 12 assists if Miles Turner hit his threes. Okay. Then it'd be 13 and 12. That's a respectable stat line.
So moving on to the Spurs. First of all, I will give you some ground that Wemby, he can be a little spotty. But he really does perform for those big games.
He does.
You can't
always
underrate that. When there's a matchup worth watching, when there's a reason to have eyeballs on him, even though he's in San Antonio, he always performs.
I think he's going to elevate in the playoffs because
absolutely.
Of that
level of clutchness, I just love to see from a sophomore. You know, more clutch than guys like Chet Holmgren, J-Dub, I don't think he's a sophomore. But, you know, these young guys, Wemby showed that killer instinct from a young age. It's just great to see. And then Wemby absolutely was taking advantage of the Pacers' weak interior defense.
Yes.
So that was because he was actually not shooting that well from 3.
Yeah, they're 4 of 11.
Exactly,
maybe?
but it didn't matter because he could get into the paint at will. Same thing goes for Harrison Barnes and Vassell, Devin Vassell. I mean, they both were taking advantage of the Pacers' weak interior
which is all
defense.
because of Miles Turner.
And then Stephon Cass had a quiet night. Trey Jones, I'm loving the Trey Jones and Wemby connection. Yes. It has really improved this year. Last year was like whatever. Mm-hmm. This year it's much better.
And I credit CP3 for that. For teaching them and showing him.
I think you can give him that credit if you want. I'm not going to speak on that. It's too nebulous to tell. And then finally, Sochan. You didn't give any shine to Sochan, which I think
don't like him.
despicable.
I don't like him.
Wow. Well, he comes back. He plays amazing perimeter defense, really lets Wemby take care of the inside. That allowed him to get his 5 blocks, and you don't like Sochan. I find that really strange because you say you like defensive players, two-way guys. Sochan's
not a two-way guy.
He
can't
two-way.
score. He has no offensive bag.
He didn't have much of a bag, but he's fantastic at defense. You can't underrate that. You can't underrate defense.
Do you remember Oscar Robertson on the Oklahoma City Thunder early 2010s?
Oscar Robertson?
Mm-hmm. Not Oscar Robinson. That's a 60s, OG. Oscar Robertson. Okay?
Say the same name.
Yeah.
I don't know. You got it.
Yeah. He played on the OKC Thunder in the early 2010s on the KD Russell Westbrook team and Serge Ibaka and them. And he shot like 20% from 3, but he was a really good wing defender.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
And he eventually had to leave the league because he's an offensive liability. All anyone does is like, hey, whoever's on him, just go double team the actual good offensive player.
But I will
Jeremy Sochan is on that level.
I will say that with Sochan, though, I think he would absolutely develop the offense because he's shown some sparks of playmaking. He's not a bad playmaker. And last season, because the Spurs, absolutely poverty roster, he was playing some point guard. And, it was hard to watch at times, especially with that one-handed free throw. But if you look at he was getting assists, and he was actually showing some potential there. So I don't think he should be a point guard, absolutely not. But as a power forward who you can look to for playmaking opportunities, I can definitely see that. He will need to develop. He's not there yet. Yeah. But his defense is still there. And I think it's a fantastic combination with Wemby. I will give this to Gobert. I don't like him. I think he absolutely gets exploited in the pick and roll. One thing you have to admit is when you are a center, if your perimeter guys are getting blown by and destroyed, there's nothing you can do. You'll always look bad. So that's
what Gobert has to deal with day in, day out.
It's good that Wemby had. Let's not make a conversation about Gobert. We're talking about the French guy that
everybody know.
We're talking about the French guy that actually matters in the NBA.
I'm talking about the better French player. Yep.
Excuse me?
Yep.
Let's unpack that. I think I just found my piece of resistance again. You think Rudy Gobert is better than Victor Wembanyama?
It's close, but right now,
it's close.
Yeah, right now, yeah.
You care to expand on that?
What's the seed for the Minnesota Timberwolves?
I have no clue.
I think they're like fourth. No, fourth is Denver, fifth is Lakers, so Minnesota's probably sixth.
Clippers are sixth. Minnesota's seventh, I believe.
Minnesota's seventh, and Spurs are 12th. Who's the best player on the Spurs?
Victor Wembanyama.
Who's the best player on Minnesota?
Anthony Edwards.
That's cap. It's Rudy Gobert. Best player on each of their teams, slightly higher seed. I think it's simple as that. If you wanted me to go more in depth, I think Wemby has more of an offensive bag, but he's so inefficient. I've talked about this before, like in the half court. He's really good in transition. But in the half court, Wemby is still so raw and so bad at offense. I'm not saying this as like a hater, that I would rather have anyone else shoot but him.
You would rather have Rudy Gobert had the ball in his hands.
No. I'm talking about on his team. I'm talking on the Spurs team. I'm talking about the Spurs team. Like everyone likes Wemby because he clearly has more of an offensive bag than people his size. But because he's still raw, it's not actually contributing to winning games. Like when he goes
winning more than they ever had. You said it yourself.
A big part of that CP3 and Wemby just getting better. Because Wemby was already shooting these threes last year, and he was shooting them out of games.
Look at CP3 last year on the Warriors. He did nothing for that team. He actually
the Warriors are so dysfunctional.
Down.
Are you not seeing Steve Kerr right now? He can't coach his way out of a paper bag. He can't even figure out a proper starting lineup. He's been carried by Draymond Green and Steph Curry, and before that, Michael Jordan, and he's getting exposed, okay? But anyways, back to my point. I think Wemby obviously will end up being better because he has a way higher potential.
I'm about right now. I don't want future. I want right now.
Right now, Wemby is bad on offense.
No.
If he's going 4 of 11 from 3.
30 piece is bad? No way.
Bro,
Gobert couldn't sniff a 30 piece.
First of all, he feasted on That's what I'm saying. Like guys like you only watch Wemby's highlights.
If Gobert
Wemby averages
Indiana,
like 22
he wouldn't
points.
Score 30.
He wouldn't
sniff 30. Even against
Bro,
Indiana.
talking about sniffing so much. Gobert, watch the Minnesota 1-point win over the Warriors about a week and a half ago. This is the best example.
You keep bringing this up, bro.
But it happens every game, but I need something that's so obvious that you won't miss it. Watch the last 4 minutes. YouTube has it provided because it was such a close game. The Warriors cannot score a single bucket in the paint because of Rudy Gobert. It literally, you could see Steph Curry going in. He's like, okay, kick it out to Buddy Hield. Like, get this ball out of here.
Same effect. We were literally seeing guys want to smoke.
We literally saw John Morant go up on Wemby and slam it in his face. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Morant could do that to Gobert too.
Wemby is more dunkable on because he's weaker. In terms of the defensive aspect, he needs to get his muscle up. He needs to get a little stronger. I would say he's more limber than Gobert.
Yeah, and that absolutely makes a difference. Wemby is a DPOY. Gobert is not.
Gobert is still DPOY level.
No, Wemby is DPOY.
People don't want to give him DPOY level credit because he's won 3. So it's fatigue. They're like, bro, we've given you 3 DPOYs.
But if he was that good, he would just win it anyways.
No, that's not how that works.
So,
that's not how that works.
Yeah,
he's not
good enough.
Because I'm saying he's not that much better than Wemby on defense. But the
so
main
Wemby
issue
smokes his packet offense, and
no,
the defensive gap is small.
That's what I'm saying. You guys think he does because he's obviously more talented.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's gonna shoot 33% from the three, I'd rather just not him not shoot threes. When we're talking about winning today, the reason everyone's fine with Wemby shooting all those threes, even though he's bad at them, is like, well, you need to develop. If you can get that three ball, you're gonna become amazing. You're gonna be the better Dirk Nowitzki or whatever.
Now,
That's cool.
winning games are shooting 33%.
They're not really winning games. They're the 12th seed. They're the 12th seed.
Shoot even more than 1 3 a game, the Timberwolves immediately start losing.
But that's not how basketball works. Like, Gobert knows his limitations. He goes 4 of 4 every game. Like, I agree. He doesn't have much of an offensive bag. Those 4 shots are putbacks and simple layups.
So he's not making an impact on the offensive end.
He is, because the 4 shots he takes are 100% field goal percentage.
Nothing different than any other 7-footer with 2 brain
That's
cells
cap.
could do.
DeAndre Ayton has never in his life shot 4 of 4.
Okay, Ayton, he doing too much. I look, for example, like Daniel Gafford. He could easily give you 4 for 4.
Daniel Gafford is about similar offensive bag to Rudy Gobert, much worse on defense.
Yeah, he is worse on defense.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is Gobert's offense, there's nothing to speak of.
No,
Gafford could do it.
That's cool. Is Gafford like a bad player?
No,
is he trash?
He's not bad, but his offensive game is literally just catch lobs and put the ball put back.
So you do that. You do everything you need to on offense.
Not everything you need to. You give the bare minimum that lets you get an NBA contract.
No, the bare minimum is DeAndre Ayton. The bare minimum is Precious Achua. The bare minimum is...
You can't use DeAndre Ayton for comparison to anything. He is terrible.
Like, okay, you're trying to say Rudy Gobert's offense is terrible. I'm listing guys who don't even play defense and have worse offense than Rudy Gobert.
Oh, but those guys will never win anything.
Rudy Gobert does everything you need him to. Like, you be talking about Ant. Like, if Rudy Gobert wanted more shots, Ant wouldn't get the shots he needs.
Yeah, and if Gobert wanted more shots, they would lose. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He takes more shots, they lose.
Listen. Rudy is capped here. Yep. Wemby is right here.
No,
in a year from now, Wemby will end up here because he has more offensive. No, he's not there right now. If you legitimately believe this guy is top 10 player and his team is 12 seed, you're crazy.
No, he's
go back and look at LeBron's teams.
Okay.
Go back and look at the greats. They don't have that low of seeds. They contribute more to winning when they're really that good. Wemby
or is it because he's in the ultra competitive West and LeBron was in the East? You don't think that played a part?
So you think LeBron's first seed in the East with 4 Eastern European bums is less impressive than Wemby's 12th seed? Are you crazy?
No, LBJ did that 4th or 5th seed. He didn't do that sophomore year.
Okay, 4th or 5th seed is still impressive.
No, 4th or 5th season in the NBA.
No, check the first year he joined. They made the playoffs.
LeBron made the playoffs as a rookie? I don't think he did that.
I might be crazy on that one.
They
definitely made it second year. I know Melo made it his first year with Denver.
This is the beauty of it. This is the beauty of it. You are already comparing Wemby to LeBron James. That instantly makes him better than Gobert.
No, he doesn't. Like, why do you guys do that?
You're literally using LeBron James as your point of reference. That tells me everything I need to know.
That's how much you're a hater of Rudy Gobert. Like, if you don't think Rudy Gobert, even if you think Ant is better because of the offensive usage, if you don't have Rudy Gobert as the second best player on the Minnesota Timberwolves,
I have second best.
So he's the second best player on the 7th seed, and you have him getting smoked by the best player, arguably, on the 12th seed? Yeah, CP3.
Undisputed.
No, it's not undisputed.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
I know that shows that, but Wemby's undisputed the first option of the Spurs.
Nah. Well, yeah, first option offensively. We're saying who's the best player.
And who's the first option defensively? Also Wemby. He's lead DPOY.
No, but CP3 is contributing everything, bro.
CP3 contributes, but it doesn't make him better than Wemby.
Why doesn't it? Why? Like, you guys only watch the highlights or what?
That's like saying Derek White is better than De'Aaron Fox.
Here's how I put it.
You probably think Derek White is better than De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, duh.
So that's the issue.
They play completely different roles.
Complete different way of looking at the game.
Here's what I tell you. Let's say the Spurs are in a game versus any random team, and they're underdogs by like 7. Okay, so the Spurs are gonna lose this game by 7 according to Vegas. If you take Wemby out, like Wemby's ruled out, I think that line moves to 9.5. So now they're even more underdogs, right? 7 to 9.5. I think if you take CP3 out, but Wemby's in, it's also gonna go to 9.5 or even 10. That's what I mean. Like, when we're watching their talent and stuff, obviously Wemby's more talented, he's younger, all that.
He's just better.
But the impact on winning today, you are completely underrating CP3, because if you really do think CP3 is whatever, I understand why you think the way you do, because you must really think this man is Jesus himself, reincarnated, reviving the San Antonio Spurs and their churros and their big old women and bringing them back to the top. I don't view the team like that. I view CP3 as quite good. I view Harrison Barnes as a very respectable starter. So Wemby's good. He's really good, but I think you're overrating him, and then you sleep on Rudy Gobert because you're also way too high on Ant. Ant-Man is not as good as you think he is.
Ant-Man is exactly as good as he is. It's unfortunate when people started saying he was regressing. That's the exact time he chose to start regressing. Before that, he wasn't regressing jack. So, that is what it is. Unfortunate timing. For me, I respect CP3. I love his game. I loved watching him growing up. But ultimately, without Wemby, this team is nothing. If you take out Wemby and leave CP3 in, this team is cooked.
No. CP3 can make wine out of water.
Prime
CP3, water out of wine.
Prime CP3, absolutely. The current CP3,
even
nah.
Current CP3,
he's heavily playing off Wemby.
Dude, look at the Phoenix
Suns.
Look
at the game when you watch him play. He's on the perimeter, just always dishing the ball away because he has no threat himself.
And he sets his teammates up.
He's setting up Wemby. Okay, that gravity works. When you have CP3, what he does is totally acceptable when you have Wemby. But if he was actually playing with real bums and just no Wemby at all, it would be unacceptable because nothing will get done. Oh, hey CP3, thanks for passing me the ball from the wing. Really, let me create, let me cook, and then
nah.
For when you watch NBA, people always talk about how stars, they often will lose a series when the opposing defense makes the role players create. CP3, every game he starts every possession like that. Hey, bro, you create. Good luck.
Nah, like it's just a pass for his point guard.
Old CP3, he could run the pick and roll. He's a threat for the layup, threat for the midi,
I agree.
Threat from the three.
Prime
that
CP3
created all his passing.
CP3 probably a top 5 point guard of all time.
I mean, I already thought that, but
so. I'm not going to disagree with that, but he's still great.
But that's the thing. I don't think he's that great because it's only working because he has Wemby.
Who are you taking on your team right now, CP3 or Bradley Beal?
CP3, obviously.
Okay, thank you.
How did that make your point?
I'm just showing how dumb the Phoenix Suns were for what they did.
Oh, yeah, because they did trade away CP3. I mean, I think they were looking for a scapegoat, to be honest.
Yeah, because them boys don't want to take that blame. D-Book, soft. KD, he looking soft. KD looking soft, by the way.
I mean, he keeps switching teams. I think
rumor is that KD doesn't like Nurkic.
I mean,
he's the reason Nurkic got benched. And if you get Nurkic benched, like, you're not trying to win. KD's done, bro. You stay doing those air shots in the club because you ain't finna be winning a chip anytime soon. So enjoy it while it lasts. Bro.
All right, I think that's the perfect time to bring the segment to a close as my co-host goes completely off his rocker talking about Kevin Durant.
My rocker. I'm keeping it real. The Phoenix Suns absolutely fumbled their whole championship hopes away.
But yeah, absolutely, Victor Wembanyama, the best Frenchman in the NBA currently. We'll bring the segment to a close. We have one more game for us to talk about. It will be the Sacramento Kings taking on the Denver Nuggets.
Me?
Yeah, sorry.
Me?
Yeah.
Me?
Yes, you.
Okay.
It's a
I guess it's my turn.
rare opportunity where you get selective.
I was always picked last in dodgeball. JK, that was you. Anyways,
Me.
the final segment of reviewing last night's games, the Denver Nuggets versus the Sacramento Kings. The Denver Nuggets win 132 to the Sacramento Kings 123. The game was at Denver, so a home game for them. And the star of the show, no doubt, Nikola Jokic, 35, 22, and 17. That is 35 points, 22 rebounds, 17 assists on hyper-efficient shooting. And I think he had 1 steal and 2 blocks to go along with it as well.
I think almost 55-foot shot as well.
Yeah, Omair, obviously a lot to unpack in this game. High scoring, so there's multiple players to talk about. Every Nugget starter had over 15 points. So feel free to unpack other things. But is Jokic human? What are we seeing? Is this the best season we've seen this century? Like, sort of contextualize what you think of this season from Jokic. Jokic as a player, and just what this game represented for his legacy and for his game.
I mean, to answer the question, no, I don't know if this guy is human. But to be serious, if we look at contextualizing what this man is doing right now, he is truly making an argument for himself as an all-time great. I think he started that argument as soon as he won that chip 2 years ago. But to play as well as he did last season, to win MVP again, even with voter fatigue working against him, and this year, absolutely, I think he should be MVP. Me, when Jokic came up, when he won his first MVP, I wasn't that much of a fan. I was more a Giannis guy. I really just didn't like his game that much. It didn't really resonate with me. But to see what he's been doing, how he continues to dominate the 2020s, this new decade, it's his decade. He has that one chip, the MVPs, and it's the way he's playing. Like, even if you want to give the MVP to SGA, I mean, the market thinks, with voter fatigue, SGA has it. I disagree. I say screw voter fatigue, okay? Because what Joker is doing is just absurd. These stat lines, he's doing it day in and day out. It's like every week, like once a week, you can bet on it. I don't know if they let you do that because they let you gamble on anything nowadays. But you can predict some out of this world stat line for Jokic, and it's the ease with which he does it. He truly has the fundamentals of the game down. Like you can say whatever you want, but we've seen real guys who don't know basketball, who don't b-ball IQ or skill wise, get by with their just phenomenal athleticism. Jokic isn't one of them. Okay, he is tall, he is strong, but he leverages his physicals in such an amazing way that he makes it look easy. I mean, you talk about some of the best offensive players we've seen. One guy who I also think looks easy is Paul George, but you can only make it look easy when you're really that skilled. So for me, Jokic is just absurd. He is truly making an all-time argument up there with the likes of Shaq, Hakeem Olajuwon, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Where I have him, I can't say yet, especially I need to see if he can win any more chips. But what he's doing in the regular season is just absurd. He's a better passer than all three of them. He's scoring like them. And if you factor in eras, you look at the guys that Kareem was playing against, now with the guys Jokic is playing against, I mean, you can make the argument. So he's truly one of the all-time best centers in the league. I think I can say he's top 5 comfortably. He's a top 5 center of all time.
Of all time?
Yeah, I think I can make the argument. Because we got Hakeem, we got Kareem, we got Shaq.
Okay.
Tim Duncan to 4.
You got Tim Duncan and KG as 4s?
Yeah, they're both 4s.
Okay. And where do you get Wilt Chamberlain?
See, Wilt, I'll put Jokic over Wilt. I don't care. I don't care about the stats. 100 points, I don't give a damn, okay? If Jordan played against plumbers, which I do and believe in, okay, he wasn't playing against studs. Who was Wilt playing against? It's the 60s, damn it. Like, they weren't really that good at basketball. Like, much respect to Wilt. The athleticism, bro was a literal Greek god in the NBA. But still, I look at competition. For me, competition is a big deal. And I know I'm not talking out my ass. Like, for the 60s, they had plumbers. But even now in the modern NBA, the player keeps getting better. You look at, like, the way you guys are coming up, AAU all the time, playing year-round. NBA players' sons, they're all coming to the league. Steph Curry, because when your father's a hooper or NBA hooper, it's easier to get in the league and easier to be better than he ever was. So we're seeing more and more of that. More money being injected into these young kids to help them develop. Right? You didn't have that in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It wasn't a thing. So, absolutely the competition Jokic is playing against is much more steep than Wilt Chamberlain. So, yeah, I am comfortable saying Jokic over Chamberlain. And then
what's the best center Jokic has played against? Can't be Embiid since he ducks that smoke.
Oh,
every
yeah.
time.
So if you really care about center to center matchup, that's an argument you could make, but still doesn't matter anything for Wilt Chamberlain. He did play against Bill Russell, but at the end of the day, they're two dudes in the 60s. It's a different era. So I still have Jokic over Chamberlain, even if you look at the center to center matchup.
And over Bill Russell?
Yes.
Despite the 11 rings?
Yes. Give me a ring is cool, but for me, I don't. When I look at how far ago that was, for me, I always give them the flowers as greats. But I'm going to take Jokic over them. And that's just me. 'Cause that's how I value the game and how I look at it. But I still give them the flowers. No disrespect to either one of them. And honestly, if you want to do top 5, those 3 guys I mentioned, Hakeem, Kareem, obviously you got to have them top 5. Shaq, then you have Jokic, then Wilt, and then Russell right outside the top 5. Or you can switch Russell and Chamberlain however you want it. I don't really care. So that's my thing with Jokic. So I'm just going to say it out because I've thought it through. Jokic is definitely a top 5 center of all time. So then next, we talk about the game in general. Let's get back to the present. I'm sure you'll have your thoughts on Jokic. This is the Nuggets. I think Braun played really well, Christian Braun. I don't think it's something that we're going to see consistently occurring, especially the goal is to have AG back from minutes restriction and have him starting. But I think Braun is a solid coming off the bench, or like a hybrid bench starter. When you look at the minutes, something like Westbrook's doing right now, where he's off the bench but he's playing tons of minutes. Braun fits that role well. I really love his cutting. One of those guys who's playing off Jokic well. I'm sure he will earn a pretty penny from this ability. In transition too, I like what he was doing in transition. I like what he was doing in transition. The Kings really couldn't keep up with him. As always, my boy Beastbrook, 18 points. Playing well. We're seeing resurgence from Westbrook. Just the IQ, the ability to play off Jokic. I'm just loving what I'm seeing. Is just fantastic. Jokic truly is a floor raiser. He's making me a fan out of Westbrook, which is absurd to me. Now on the Kings side, I have to mention there's nothing I can do. I can't run away from it. De'Aaron Fox, now a good game. You guys know I am a fan of De'Aaron Fox. The only thing I can say is that he took a pretty hard fall. That's how we got the glute soreness. I know some people like to make jokes about the glute soreness, but he did take a hard fall. Triple J, being a little sloppy in his defensive abilities. So Fox took that fall. And then another thing is Fox didn't really deal with injuries that much. His last 2 seasons, he played 70-plus games. So I'm willing to give him a little bit of a pass, because coming from an injury can always be hard. Next, DeRozan. So DeRozan's the really, everyone's talking about the coach. I don't really care about the coach. Like, cool, your vibes are good, love that. You change it up a little bit. But the main reason they're winning is DeMar DeRozan is playing much better. At the start of the season, the brother was trying to become a foreman, trying to build a house with all the bricks he was laying. Because the thing with DeRozan, people have to remember, he's a midi assassin, but not really. Okay, he didn't hold a candle to guys like KD, for example, in the mid range,
or Cade Cunningham.
Actually, yeah, Cade Cunningham is mid-range stud. D-Book, if you will. The main thing with DeRozan is a fantastic driver and finisher. He's one of the best slashers we have in the league, which he then accentuates with the midi game. But don't get it twisted. Without that slashing game, he's a shell of his former self. And we saw that his rim attempts were down, his rim efficiency was down, and then the free throws. He draws a lot of free throws. Not just off the pump fake, okay? Pump fake in the midi, jump into the body, but just when you drive a lot, you get free throws. So to see those free throws down, that tells me he's struggling to drive. He's struggling to get people to bite on his midi pump fake, and I was never surprised, because the Kings were a team last year struggling with spacing, right? Struggling to get guys like Fox and Monk going, who are great slashers, and you get a guy who can't shoot a 3 to save his life. So that was really.
Oh, they got De'Aaron Fox?
Come on, man. Come on now. He can shoot 3 sometimes. He can shoot 3 sometimes.
No, he can't.
Yes, he can.
No,
last season, look at the beginning of last season, 40% 3-point shooter. Just
just go look at this 2-week sample size. He was shooting 3s in that time for sure.
Bro, your sense of time is really weird. I tell you the first half of an NBA season, and you tell me 2 weeks. That really explains why you probably think 5 minutes is a long time. That's really weird. So that's DeRozan. But now he's having a resurgence, playing really well.
You thought you ate. You thought you ate and left no crumbs.
He's playing really well. So that's a big reason why the Kings are winning. He's playing well, and that's another thing you have to remember with De'Aaron Fox is he's taking him of a back seat to let DeRozan flourish.
Yeah, that 24 shots back seat, by the way. Most field goal attempts on the team, by the way. 7 of 24, lowest field goal percentage in the history of the game, by the way.
History of the game? Get out of here. Get out of here. But
You'd have to fact check
But
me.
I'm not tripping though, because remember, I've been a De'Aaron Fox and DeMonte Sabonis fan. The box score beast, as always, played amazingly last night. He remained the centerpiece of this team. Defensively, we've talked about the way he plays pick and roll. He can play drop coverage while also coming up, because he is nimble enough to do something like that. Something like Gobert could never do, playing up in the pick and roll. But
He literally does that, by the way.
Not much.
Just let us know you don't watch Minnesota basketball.
Gobert loves playing drop coverage.
Dude,
he rarely comes up.
He literally plays drop, then he comes up because his perimeter defender got absolutely smoked, forces the pass, then recovers back to the paint, gets a block.
Except when it matters. Except when it matters in the playoffs. So that's good to know. But anyway, I digress. Let's stay on topic. You know. So Sabonis, good defensive play. The offense was great to see. The passing 8 assists, that's great. He's always been a strong playmaker. You know, Jokic at the top of the game, Sabonis somewhere in the middle. Just love his playmaking. Better than guys like Sengun. This just proves it again for me. I don't think Sabonis could be an all-star because of how the West front court is stacked. But the way the rankings came out, he was way too low. He's absolutely above Sengun, above Triple J, and there's a couple other guys as well. Better than J-Dub, no doubt. I don't care. Last night J-Dub had a 30-piece, but you look at the whole season, Sabonis is better.
Oh my god, bro.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on Jokic in the game overall. I'm sure this guy has a lot to say, so I'm gonna give the floor to him.
Listen, let me just start with the Sabonis point, actually. It's interesting that you said there's no way he can be an all-star, because Kings fans have been talking about this. The only player to have an average of something like 24, 6, and 7 in the history of the NBA game as a center is Wilt Chamberlain and Domantas Sabonis. So he's putting up numbers that are pretty crazy.
If they did positionally, I think he would definitely be a center all-star. But they have front court.
There's like some sort of exception, because obviously Jokic should have averaged something like that. But he has some sort of stat line that is pretty unique. And then obviously, more importantly, is the 60% from the field. Low volume, but also 48% from 3. Even one of those a game at that clip.
Yeah, you want to talk about Gobert just taking the high-quality shots. Sabonis does that. No,
Sabonis takes high-quality shots. Yes. So I'm surprised you're not going to bat harder for him to make it to the front court.
I look at the Western front court. Yeah, he's going against like guys like LeBron and KD. I think it's just gonna be hard for him to win, to say that he's better than them.
Yeah, I think a lot of Kings fans would probably say Sabonis over KD.
Sabonis over KD.
I think.
Do you think that?
I mean, obviously, in terms of player ability, KD is better. Mm-hmm. But in terms of what they've contributed to their teams this year, I think you can make an argument.
You can make the argument, yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. But no, I agree. Sabonis, definitely the highlight. 19 rebounds, 8 assists. I should mention, though, that Sabonis always gets a lot of rebounds and assists versus Jokic. Pretty much every center does. It's just a function of how Jokic and the Denver Nuggets defend. They always force it so that the center is forced to pass more. And they also aren't the greatest at like boxing out those rebounds. And the Denver Nuggets in general don't get a lot of offensive rebounds, so the center just gets to feast in terms of their defensive rebounding. But yeah, good game from Sabonis. A little less efficient than I would have liked, but it's fine. Yeah, DeMar DeRozan, by the way, playing better. I agree. It's weird because obviously a coach doesn't just make a player better, but I do think there was friction between Mark Jackson and
Mark Jackson? You mean Mike Brown?
Mike Brown, I'm sorry. Mark Jackson was like the Warriors coach.
Yeah, you had to kick him while he was down, bro. Kick Mike Brown while he was down, bro.
No, Mike Brown, there was friction because he was talking about DeRozan coming off the bench. He had talked about it to DeRozan, and I think DeRozan was not happy with that at all, and I think it affected his. So he started bad, so you brought up benching, and then he continued playing bad, and we talked about this. It's not like the coach is doing anything wrong, but if you're going to keep these players, you probably have to replace the coach just to get that honeymoon phase, just to get rid of all that locker room drama, and I think that was one of it, and I think DeMar DeRozan is playing better because of that. Obviously not enough to win this game, but a good game, 9 of 16. I mean, come on, what can you complain about that? By far, the worst player on the court. Let me tell you a stat line. 7 of 24. That is a lower than 30% field goal percentage. 3 of 10 from 3. Not even that bad. 30%, it's not the worst I've seen. This guy can't hit middies, layups, anything. 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Not bad, not bad. 3 or 4 turnovers. Okay, well, not amazing for 6 assists. Not terrible, not amazing. But overall, I think we can conclude that this guy, in a game where you lost by 9 points, it would have been really nice if he went 50%, because then you would have won. You would have won if this guy shot 50%. You would have narrowly lost if he shot even 43 to 47%. Of course, that player being De'Aaron Fox. Absolutely reprehensible game. I don't know what to say. Like, Jokic is not some all-star elite defender. Like, when you're talking about Jokic top 5 all time, I think his offense is definitely top 5 all time and arguably is top 2 all time. His issues are more on the defensive end, where he's not bad. I'm not saying he's
quite good
bad.
Though. He's underrated as a
He's quite
defender.
good. I agree, but
he anchored that
you wouldn't put him at DPOY level,
yeah, that's
right?
true,
That's all I'm saying. So it's not like you're playing against some sort of DPOY level center. Aaron Gordon's off the bench, so he's getting less minutes. Christian Braun, easy to beat on defense. Russell Westbrook, easy to beat on defense. Jamal Murray, not that difficult to beat on defense. And I mean, DeMar DeRozan was going off. Trey Lyles was doing well. Doug McDermott was doing well. Keon Ellis was doing well. I don't know what De'Aaron Fox is doing. You're gonna keep blaming the glue injury. No, this isn't the only bad game. Like, we're talking about the same guy who lost us a pivotal game versus the Detroit Pistons.
You keep bringing that up, just like Mike Brown did.
And he doesn't take over in the fourth quarter nearly as much as he used to. He's not nearly as efficient. And you're saying he's not dealing with injuries. I think ever since he got that ankle injury, I forget the specific game, but we were watching it. He gets the ankle tweaked. He even plays on it. He plays through it. The game, I think, even goes into OT. They lose. I'm unsure on the specifics, but I just watched him play through this pretty bad ankle injury
called toughness.
And then he ended up having to take like a month off. So there's your toughness. Yeah, he took a bunch of games off, and ever since
last season he played 70+ games. So
this was like when he missed the majority of those games. Then I guess, but he had this ankle injury, and ever since he's come back from that, I just don't see the same shooting from him. He's still not quite as fast as he used to be. I'm just not liking what I'm seeing from De'Aaron Fox.
I think his speed is still there. I don't think
his speed is there. I don't think his speed is there at all. No. He's
definitely
slower.
I think you're grasping at straws.
No,
connect that ankle injury to a loss of speed.
No, you literally watch him come back from that injury, and he's just not the same. And his shooting is not the same either. He's not rising up as well. He's not pulling as many threes. I mean, this game, okay, he pulled 10 threes, but now you're not making a ton of them. But in general, what I've always liked about De'Aaron Fox is that he's not the greatest three-point shooter, but he shoots just enough of them, and he makes just enough of them, especially in the fourth quarter, to keep you guessing, and that's a big part of how he goes on those runs. He'll drive, transition, that's 4 points, boom, pull up from 3, 7, boom, pull up from midi, 9. Now we've got 9 points, and you really can't pinpoint where we're going to attack you from, and he can, you know what I mean, like a 3-level score. He's just doing it all. I'm not seeing that anymore from De'Aaron Fox. And he's just as much of a cone on defense, if not more than ever.
He's not that bad on defense.
He is terrible on defense.
No, he's average.
I don't like his closeouts. I don't like his effort over screens. I don't like how he doesn't really impact the ball handler when he's,
He leads the league in drive stops. What do you think about that? You're talking about his closeout,
I don't care about that stat. That's a fake Mickey stat, bro.
What do you mean? Is cutting off drives not impressive? Is that not important?
Is way more important to cutting off drives than De'Aaron Fox is.
So Sabonis is the one who's in front of the dude blocking him off with his chest.
Domantas Sabonis is the guy in the paint
could be in two spots at the same time.
Okay,
that's
he's
really
the one
weird.
making up for De'Aaron Fox.
I think drive stop it doesn't matter who's in the paint. Drives only get stopped if you get in front of him.
Russell Westbrook 7 of 10, Christian Braun 8 of 14. Like, come on.
They were hard. What?
Come on. What are
we
doing?
We were talking about the Spurs.
What are we doing here? You gave up 132 points.
Teams get hot. You bring that
all
the time.
Hot. No, they weren't hot.
Yes, they were.
No, they were 48.5% from the field, 35% from 3. Those are completely reasonable numbers.
Those role players, those specific numbers you mentioned, they could have been.
Yeah, those are the guards that De'Aaron Fox was on.
Okay, well, what about Keon Ellis? Keon Ellis was definitely guarding some of them.
No, Keon Ellis was guarding Jamal Murray. He went 8 of 18. Keon Ellis did his job.
Well, I mean,
he held Jamal Murray to under 50% shooting.
Jamal Murray league goes under 50% all the time.
Okay, so now Keon doesn't deserve any credit for holding a star.
I love Keon. Okay, you're about to say superstar. Some blasphemy.
Superstar in the playoffs. He's a superstar in the playoffs.
One playoff run, he was a superstar.
That one playoff run will have this man fed for the rest of his life because he did it versus the Lakers. He did it versus the Legoat.
Okay, LeBron. That's his name. You can chill out a little bit.
Okay, so you can open it. You can open the segments with your butchered French because you want to ride Wemby. But I say let go, and now all of a sudden,
butchered French. What do you mean?
Yeah,
that was good. That was a good friend. Y'all let me know. Watch the segment. Watch the Spurs versus Pacers segment. Y'all tell me about my friend.
Do yourself a favor. Don't. Do yourself a favor. Don't. Listen, man.
De'Aaron Fox. He didn't want you to watch because he got absolutely cooked that segment too.
I didn't get cooked. So. I set you right on the Frenchman tier list. But listen, De'Aaron Fox, worst offensive player of this game. Absolute cone on defense. Let Russell Westbrook, Christian Braun look good. Didn't like how he looked in transition.
You can't just put all the defensive responsibility.
I'm not putting all of it on him, but Keon Ellis held Jamal down.
Okay, fine.
So it's Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox as the other defensive players.
But the thing is, Fox is average on defense.
He's below average.
No, just because the Nuggets players had a good game, you even talk
about
it yourself.
Dude, this happens every game.
You talk about it yourself.
Every game.
A player can have a good or bad game, and sometimes it has nothing to do with the defender on him. That absolutely could be the case here today.
And you don't want to say it.
You don't want to say it.
That was the case.
You don't want to say it because
Jokic
had
35.
It didn't match your narrative.
Jokic had 35, and I'm not putting blame on Sabonis. That should show you that I'm not blind to this. I didn't think Sabonis played particularly bad defense. I thought he did his job. It's just hard to stop Jokic. It is not hard to stop Christian Braun and Russell Westbrook.
But
you need to be able to do that if you're the best player on this team.
But it wasn't just Fox's fault. And I'm just saying he's average. All I'm making
he's
point
not
is
average.
He's not average. Yes.
No, you can't say the guy who lost you the game versus the Detroit Pistons on a defensive breakdown where you hard close out on Jaden Ivey, one of the worst guards in the league, give him a 4-point play. Man, your coach wanted to sock you in that locker room, and you got him fired because of it.
That was one play.
That one play, that 4-point swing is so pivotal. We talk all the time about how one of the big differences between football and basketball is football has these really low sample, high leverage moments. We're talking like 3rd and 8, right? Mm-hmm. You only get so many 3rd and 8 moments. And that really dictates a game. If you convert on that 3rd and 8, your win probability is completely different than if you didn't, right? With basketball, it's one of the blessings and curses of basketball. In a 240-point game, 2 points is 2 points, right? But why do we always talk about the fourth quarter? Why do we always talk about the clutch? Because those are the high leverage moments. And De'Aaron Fox was rightfully given credit when he was one of the best offensive players in the entire league in the fourth quarter 2 seasons ago. Now, he is not that guy on offense in the fourth quarter, but I have seen him have defensive breakdowns. I'm only bringing out one because it was the most memorable one. He's had more. Yes, he has.
He does not make a habit of defensive breakdown in the fourth quarter.
He 100% does. He is lazy on defense, especially in the fourth quarter. No. He does not fight over screens, and he's absolutely letting that team down on defense.
I disagree.
And Denver had 132, and I'm putting that on Fox's head. Your boy is cooked. I don't know who you're going to trade him for. They're talking about Cam Johnson. They might be getting him from Brooklyn. I don't know how they're going to get him. I don't know why they're going to get him. I have no idea what Sacramento's cooking because I don't know. Trade De'Aaron Fox. Trade De'Aaron Fox. Trade De'Aaron Fox for Cam Johnson.
You want to stay on that?
I'm going to stand on that. Let Malik Monk be your primary point guard. Sabonis be, his partner. Cam Johnson replace the Herder shooting. But we know
you can't. You need more than one ball handler in this league. So what are you gonna do with Malik
DeMar
Monk?
DeRozan. You already have DeMar DeRozan.
You want to run the ball through DeMar DeRozan's hands.
Run it through his hands.
Yeah, the playmaker that is DeRozan. Yes, absolutely.
Is De'Aaron Fox some sort of great playmaker?
6 assists per game. DeRozan can't do that. Get the ball to DeRozan. He's isoing on the mid post, high post. DeRozan ISO, midi, turnaround, fadeaway. That's DeRozan's bag.
No, I want Malik Monk can make up for all that. Malik Monk can go give you 10 assists. De'Aaron
Monk got to sit. Monk got to sit.
No, you don't. Malik Monk got to be a starter.
You gonna play 48 minutes? What are you gonna do when he sits?
Oh no, yeah, I mean just run it through. I think that's fine. And then if you're worried about DeRozan's passing, let's do a spoke offense with DeRozan. I mean Sabonis.
Thing is, people know how to play against the Sabonis offense too. He got figured out. That's what.
So 7 of 24 didn't get figured out, but Sabonis got figured out.
That's the thing. He had a bad.
The box score beast got figured out.
He had a bad shooting night, but no,
he has a bad shooting night pretty much every night, bro. No, he can't shoot.
No, they literally talked about it. 2 years ago, bring Sabonis in. They used the Spo kind of offense, using him as a pivot. It works amazingly. They get figured out in the playoffs by the Warriors. Come in next season, their dribbling handoff is nowhere near as effective. And now this season,
because Fox doesn't have speed.
They're not running as many DHOs.
Because Fox doesn't have speed.
De'Aaron Fox being slower is not the reason your dribble handoffs didn't work
100%
anymore.
is.
It's
it 100%
absolutely
is.
them being figured out as a team. The schema is just known now. So you can't just go back to it didn't work and we got cooked. And last season, we were in the play-in and couldn't even make it into the playoffs. Let's run that back. Let's run that offense back. That makes no sense.
No, dude. They didn't get figured out. You can't just figure out offenses. If you have a good offense, it's a good offense.
So yes,
De'Aaron Fox isn't good enough to hold that offense
up. The Sabonis dribble handoff offense is not that good.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Sabonis
is not the issue in this pairing at all. Right now,
I love Sabonis.
Who's the worst player in that duo? Who's the worst player in that duo? Say it right now. Say it with your chest, little boy.
I ain't no little boy.
Okay.
Right now?
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, right now.
Sabonis right now.
Sabonis is the worst player right now.
No, he's the better player right now.
Oh, okay. So De'Aaron Fox
is
the
Fox
weakness.
Is better.
What do you mean usually? What do you mean this whole season?
The start of the season, Fox was better, but before his glue injury, Fox was better.
Before the glue
injury, All-Star, yes. Last season, All-Star. This season, All-Star.
He's terrible.
Bro, it's the same thing every time with you haters, okay?
He's cooked.
When he's having a bad stretch, you just jump onto it like vultures. Like, you try to make that
I've been jumping on it from the beginning of the season. No diddy, no pause. Run it straight back.
This thing you hate, y'all take a 5-game sample size and try to extend it for a man's whole career.
Man, I got 50 games of this man being mediocre.
No. That's just simply not true. You have 35 games of him being really good.
No, you don't. You mean when they were 12 seed?
That wasn't his fault. I told you
that was his fault.
DeRozan was laying bricks. DeRozan was building a house.
So the number one player on the team, according to you, doesn't get the blame. You were just
he was playing well. He was playing well.
He was not playing
yes,
well.
He was.
He was not.
His 3-point shooting was a little low, but besides
it was
that,
terrible. It was say what it was. It was terrible.
No, it was
his
just
passing
not great.
was terrible. His defense
passing
was terrible.
Good. Defense
rim
average
was terrible.
And
Midi was terrible.
No. Fantastic, phenomenal rim finisher. You
down
can never
from last
take that
year.
away from
down
him.
from last year. Down
He's
from last year.
70% at the rim, bro.
Down from last year.
Ain't
He was
nothing
74% last year.
Ain't nothing down.
He
He
was
stays
74%
up.
last year.
He stays up, bro.
No.
He was still amazing at the rim. I don't.
He was worse. He regressed even in his best attribute.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
I'm gonna need you to pull up the stats.
Well, the segment's been going on for dang near almost 30 minutes, so we're going to have to talk about this at another time. But I'm going to have the stats ready.
We'll
but I'm
be
telling
back.
you, he dropped rim field goal percentage on top of getting worse than everything else. His peak is gone. You saw the Darren Fox's peak was losing in 7 in the first round to the Golden State Warriors.
No.
Boom. That's
He'll be
it.
back. He'll be back.
Fiend.
He'll be back.
Listen, man. We got to do the previews now.
Yeah, I think that brings this segment to a close. You didn't even talk about Jokic. Do you have him as top 5 all time center?
Yeah, of course. I have him over Shaq. Shaq's whiny little
over Shaq.
Man.
Over Shaq.
Listen, if TNT wants to give me the bag, I'll take his bag. But they're not gonna. So I'll say what I really think. Shaq ain't like that. He a baby.
Crazy.
His gameplay. He knows what he left out there. He couldn't pass. Yeah, rebounder. Jokic is just as dominant on the scoring end. Shaq was good, and also like look at the time, right? I agree. Jokic needs another chip or two, but
I mean, the very few players have three-peated, and Shaq led that three-peat.
He had Kobe though. He had Kobe.
Yeah,
we got Jamal Murray.
Kobe,
we got Kobe at home type.
Okay, that's kind of fair.
Like Jokic is. I don't know that like Shaq lost the MVP to Steve Nash, and he always talks about how he was robbed or whatever. Steve Nash was like that. He was really, really good on offense. Jokic doesn't have like he is clearing the rest of the league.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where does he finally go? I don't know. I do think it's a bit of a weak era right now for the league, especially in his position. Yeah, especially for big men.
Like center specifically.
Like Shea is great. Giannis is great. Tatum is great.
I would say center specifically because I feel like wings, they're at a whole new level.
Yeah, wings have peaked.
Like,
LeBron led the revolution, and now we have a bunch of great wings. And if Ben Simmons hadn't failed, he would have been great. Like we just got all these guys coming in. Kawhi Leonard, Jimmy Butler, blah, blah, blah. But at the center position with Joel Embiid being how he is, I do think that's one thing that holds Jokic back is the competition argument.
A lack of a rivalry.
Yeah, lack of a rivalry. Like, who's his rival?
Think who was Shaq's rival? Shaq started a trend to bring in 7-foot nobodies just to keep a body on him. And we give Shaq credit for that.
True.
He was so dominant, you just needed any bum to stay in front of him.
Yeah. No.
So Shaq had no equal. Jokic has no equal.
But, I mean, Shaq had, he was, like, playing in the AI era and just a bunch of those players. And then Hakeem had MJ, for example. Kareem was just in the Magic, Larry Bird era. But I agree with you. Position on position, the greats rarely have like a number 2. I would say Shaq had David Robinson. I would say that's
David
one
Robinson,
that I would put out right there.
David Robinson was good.
Like if Embiid had been playing and then Jokic beats him, I just think that helps, But I agree. I have Jokic top 5 all time. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'd have to think about it. But I agree with your list of Kareem, Hakeem. I probably still have them above him just because of the chips and the longevity.
And defense as well.
And defense. But I think I have Jokic 3rd. And then, you can put Shaq 4th. And then, and it's only because Tim Duncan's moved to the 4 in our discussion. Because Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett both incredibly slept on.
Yo, Tim Duncan clears KG, though.
No, I don't know about
that.
You guys go back and watch that 2004 season. That both of them were amazing. Like that was. You want to talk about a rivalry? That was like. Imagine you got to see MJ versus LeBron in the same time.
Really?
That's what Tim Duncan versus Kevin Garnett in 2004 and even into 2005 was. And obviously Tim Duncan, great winner. I'm never going to be able to take that away from him. But I think Kevin Garnett, he just stayed on that bummy roster. And people really only saw him on the Celtics and then on the Nets. He was already past his prime by then. Like on the Celtics, they won in 2008. He was still good then, but like 2004, 2005, just an absolute animal, man. Like, but again, those are all 4, so it doesn't affect Jokic's argument at all. Just
okay. I think that'll bring this segment to a close.
All right, let's wrap this up. We'll be right back. We only got one preview for today because there's only 3 games, so we picked the one close game. And we'll be back soon.